Hello, my name's James Dean and welcome to CIPD Bitesize. In this video, we're going to be looking at 50 SO2, which is the Advances in Digital Learning and Development unit. And as always with CIPD Bitesize, AC 1.1 is free and available on our YouTube channel, so you can watch this as often as you want as well, even if you're not enrolled with HRC Online. So let's dig into it. About this unit. This unit focuses on how digital technology can be used to enhance learning and develop engagement. It looks at existing and emerging learning technologies, the design of digital content, and how to effectively curation of resources and learning support. This unit also explores the skills of online facilitation and how these can be applied to maximize learning engagement in an online learning experience. So we are fully anticipating you to review me in this. How am I doing? Is it okay? That's fine. You're here to be a critical friend. Remember, CIPD Level 5 is a critical evaluation qualification. So you should be critiquing me. You should be going, I would do this, I would do that. And that's absolutely fine. But first and foremost, let's get you a pass. So remember, there are four grades even. See, first mistake. There are 4 grades when it comes to CIPD. There is a 1, which is a fail or a refer, which means that you don't show sufficient knowledge or sufficient understanding of the question. There is something which is called a low pass, and a low pass it's still a pass. And you need to get a low pass on every question to pass the module. If you do refer on a question, if you fail a question, you resubmit it, that question will be graded at a low pass as a maximum, even in your resubmissions. But you can also get a pass, which is a 3, and a high pass, which is a 4. And a high pass is tricky to get because you're working on a limited word count, and always bear in mind that at the end of the day, when you're sat in front of an interview for that HR director's job or that learning and development director's job, they're not going to say, so in 50SO2, can you tell me how many 2s, how many 3s, and how many 4s you got? They want to know, did you get the qualification? Did you not get the qualification? There's no distinction. There's no merit. There's no award. You either pass or you fail with CIPD. So if you do score a 2, if you get a load of 2s, it's not the end of the world. It's still a pass. A pass is a pass. It's like a driving test. You either pass it or you don't pass it. Right, on we go. So about this unit, you work in an L&D team of a large successful manufacturing organization. Much of the success of the organization is due to the ongoing development of new products and the continuous improvement of systems and services. This has required fast and effective employee training, and much has to be done by your team to complete an in-person training events and a range of technology-based options. Employees can access a range of videos, tutorials, learning resources via either their own devices or via terminals in the organization's learning center. And managers have been trained and encouraged to provide short, just-in-time online training sessions as required. This is all working well. As a result of your team's success in this area, you have been asked to lead a session at a conference for managers and L&D professionals entitled Advances in Digital Learning and Development. The organizers say that there is no requirement to talk about your organization in particular. The CIPD do have a rule of that. If you submit an assessment and then mentioning an organization, you have to mention it in every answer. So that's a really important point to pull out of here. But successful, experienced practitioners would like you to share your general knowledge, advice, and recommendations. To help you prepare and pitch the session effectively, you decide to research and respond to the tasks given below. This will help you support your session and provide a follow-up resources for your attendees. This is the scene. You go into a conference, you're presenting to a range of people. You're going to use your experience to get them excited about the advancements in digital learning and development. And that's how we're going to approach this. Okay, so let's move on. These are the questions that are below. AC 1.1. Evaluate how development of technology and digital collaboration has impacted the design and delivery of learning and development over the last decade. Questions like this, I'm always a bit like, there's a lot of jumping around in the questions, so it can get really easy to miss stuff. But the marking guide is evaluate how the development of technology and digital collaboration has impacted design and delivery of learning over time. So I actually think that the core, like the base, so for anyone that's not aware, you get 2 questions with CIPD. You get the scenario-based question, and the marking guide question underneath gives you sort of, now sometimes we like to look at the marking guide question because it gives you a real insight into how to approach the question. But in this context, I actually think that the overarching question probably is a little bit more interesting. Now, always let's break the question down into its component parts. Evaluate. If you don't answer the verb, you don't pass the question. So evaluation, you're evaluating how development of technology and digital collaboration has impacted the design and delivery of learning and development over the last decade. So there's a lot to do in this question. It is a chunky question, and you'll be thinking straight away, wow, word count's going to be an issue. And probably on this particular question, it's one where you may need to allocate slightly over your normal resource. So when it comes to this, what we recommend is to break it down into evaluate the idea, the amount, the value, the assess. You go into detail. Action point 1: how has development of technology impacted L&D change over the last decade? How has digital collaboration impacted L&D change over the last decade? Case studies help prove things and how they can be applied in the workplace. One of the things that I point out about this question is, I mention it in quite a lot, is CIPD love to throw something which I refer to as the cheeky S in things, where you've got to give multiple examples of stuff. So this is not in this particular question. So how has development of technology impacted L&D change over the last decade? Well, a research paper doesn't mean that it means that you're not throwing multiple ideas at it. You can just go, well, actually, if I think about how development in technology has changed over the last decade, if we look at this research paper that was done here by these people, and this is what it says, and this is, and they found this data and this data and this data and this data. So case studies help prove how it's changed. Evidence, it's really hard to say, well, you got that wrong, if you go, well, actually, this research says that 90% have moved from face-to-face to online, and that people are actually getting better past results with online. So again, you've just got to think about how you're going to approach this question, how you sort of going to zero in on it to ensure that you've got all the right answers. Now, looking at this, you've got what, 2,800 words to answer the 8 questions. 2,800 words in total, plus or minus 10%. You can go 1%, 11%, one word over the 10%, it's an instantaneous referral on the entire assessment. Anything under the 10%, it's an instantaneous referral on the whole assessment. So you've got about 350 words to answer this. I would probably, how has development of technology impacted? I would probably do some research over the last decade. I would probably pull some changes in there. You've got about 150, 175 words per action point in this, and that's probably how I would approach it to maximize sort of my output of this particular question. If it was my approach to this, one of the things that I always say is there's no right or wrong. Just because of how I'd approach it, I try and approach it in the easiest way for you possible, but there are multiple approaches that you can take to these types of questions anyway. So if something stands out to you, if a piece of research really sings to you and you think it helps you answer the question, please ensure that you go down that road. There is no sort of, it has to be this way or the highway. Now, some resources that I think would help: CIPD podcast, evidence-based L&D, the gift of AI. Obviously, AI is one of the biggest growing trends that we've got within the learning and development space. As we know, CIPD are currently quite against AI being used in written assessments and stuff like that. So please don't use AI within this writing assessment, but it is going to be one of the biggest changes. Forbes, what next for learning and development? That's looking into the future. And CIPD did a really interesting research piece on digital learning in a post-COVID-19 economy. Because what I can tell you as a training provider is we had hundreds of learners that were in face-to-face centres, face-to-face learning, and every apprenticeships, people that would, on-site visits, everything like that. And we had to flip everything immediately. We had to take everything and turn it into a digital. How do we convert this into a digital session? How do we convert that so people can still make progress? How do you teach people how to fix a bus? Because we had a bus depot where we were training people how to sort of do maintenance on buses in a digital world. Head cameras, GoPros, these types of things. It got really interesting. And that CIPD research sort of gives you a bit of an insight into that. And so try to think about, COVID for me is a really good line in the sand. It's in the last decade. It changed the face of education. The amount of face education now is a lot less than it used to be. So I would use that as a potential line in the sand. Now, as always, we give you a bit of a fictitious scenario to try and help you contextualize the question and help you understand what it is that is required of you. And in this particular one, you are in a library. Library? Library. Anyway, once upon a time, in an era of chalkboards and textbooks, learning was confined to the walls of a classroom and the pages of dusty books. Knowledge was passed down from teacher to student with limited access to information beyond the local library. Then, with the invention of the printing press, knowledge became more accessible and books became more widespread tool for learning. There was a major turning point in the history of education as it allowed mass production of educational material and it made it more possible for people to learn independently. Fast forward to the 20th century and the invention of the computer. Kombucha? No, the computer ushered in a new era of technology. Advancements. Computers began to be used in education and initially as a tool for automated tasks such as grading or record keeping. However, as technology advanced and computers became more powerful and more versatile, they began to be used for more interactive and engaging learning experience. The development of the internet in the late 20th century was another major turning point in history of education, with the internet providing access to vast amounts of information and resources, and it allowed for new forms of communication and collaboration. This led to the development of online learning, which is what you're getting with me, which made education more accessible and more flexible because you can fit it around whatever you're doing. You could drop this video in, I think it'll be about 15 minutes, in a break. Today, technology continues to transform the way that we learn and development. Mobile devices, social media, cloud computing. There's just a few technologies that have changed the face of education. And as technology continues to evolve, we can expect to see more innovation and more exciting developments. We see things like Synthesia, which we've integrated into this course, where you've got an AI person telling you about some basic things like the Kubler-Ross change process or flat organizational structures. Today's technology, there are some key ways that technology and digital collaboration have impacted the design and development of digital learning. Some of them: increase access to education. Technology has made education more accessible to people all over the world. We are learning globally. We are speaking one language. ACCA, which is an accounting qualification, is the biggest global qualification in the world, and everyone speaks the same accounting language. Platforms, mobile devices have made it possible for people to learn from anywhere in the world and from each other. Improved engagement and motivation. Technology can help create more engaging and motivating learning experience, like interactive simulation games or virtual reality, where we can bring things to life. Gaming now, there's learning within gaming that you can do. Personalized learning. Technology can be used to personalize learning experiences and meet the needs of the individual learners. Adaptive learning can track students' progress and provide customized feedback and support. Think about this question. I'm giving you some ideas on how you want to do it, but you're all going to approach it in different ways. You're just going to answer the overarching question. Increased collaboration. Technology has made it easier for learners to collaborate with each other in their instructors. Online forums, chat rooms, videos, conferencing can all facilitate learning and collaboration. We have a community. There's Facebook communities. You can go on Twitter and you can have or X or whatever it's called, or Blue Sky. You can go on LinkedIn. You can learn and learn and learn from loads of different people. More efficient and more effective learning. Technology can help make learning more efficient and effective. Automated grading, feedback system can free up instructors' time so they can focus on meaningful interactions. Overall, technology and digital collaborations have had a profound impact on the design and delivery of learning and development. These tools have made education more accessible, engaging, personalized, and efficient. And technology continues to evolve. We can expect to see more innovation and more exciting developments in the education field. But whilst all this chaos is going on, whilst all this innovation is growing, whilst all these amazing things are happening, and all these massive leaps that we've taken, there's still holes and gaps and things that we need to be wary of. You know, if you look at online and social media and how much needs to be fact checked. Previously, people used to go to like this big book of encyclopedias and start flicking through everything, but that can't do that anymore. So they need to start Googling and fact checking and finding information. So think about the benefits, but also think about how could it be manipulated to make sure that we've got the right thing and the right solution for the right people. And how can we evidence that? How can we prove it? That's the key to this question. Prove your thinking with stats and data, and you will do brilliantly. Absolutely best of luck in this unit, and we will catch you on the next one. Take